morning, YouTube. Coming to you from the east side of the Continental Divide. We are currently climbing to over 10,000 feet in the Rocky Mountains. Going to be going through the Eisenhower Tunnel very soon as we head towards Utah. Today is mostly a travel day because it is cold and windy across, well, the entire next 400 miles ahead of me. And will stay so through the night. But tomorrow we'll start warming up very quickly and hopefully we'll start seeing some really cool wildlife. Fingers crossed. And here we are coming up on what will hopefully be the last snow that I see until fall. About a mile here and then we're going to be inside some deep flurries because this is the back end of a cold front that we're going under at the moment. Here we go. And traffic. Oh, so cold and snowy. Below freezing for the first time I've seen since the end of April. And at almost 11,000 feet elevation now. Approaching the tunnel. I will not film as we go through the tunnel, though. That is not very safe. The weather stayed pretty cold, wet, and snowy until I got out of the higher passes as well, so nothing was filmed within that area. And in fact, stayed pretty drizzly and dismal until I actually got into Utah, where it cleared up to almost 75 degrees as I was approaching the beautiful Henry Mountains. But as soon as we got near my first stop area, temps started to plummet. Alright folks, got here a little earlier than I was expecting, and it is slightly warmer than originally predicted too, so welcome to the Grand Wash of Capitol Reef National Park. I am currently sitting in my car, a portion of the ways down the road, and then looking down where it goes further that way. Temperatures still might be a little chilly to actually see any reptiles, but we might do a little bit of sightseeing around and before we actually head to the hotel. Because it is obnoxiously windy out there, but it's still a very nice day now that we are in nice, sunny, clear-skied southeast Utah. And I was wrong, we got a reptile. Looks like sagebrush lizard. Hanging out in the very, very windy wash. These are quite common guys out here though. Something I did not see last time because I was in a different part of the park. Uranium mines. Old historical aspect of this area. It is not safe to stick around here very long because you'll get radiation poisoning. Despite that, bats live in here during the summer. They should be present already at this point, because we're just about past frost around here, and they should be hunting insects, but kind of an interesting little detail. And we got marmots on the road. Guys, you're supposed to cross, not just sit there. Okay, one of them, there we go. One of them went across, the other figured out it was safer to go back. Despite the cold, some of the early summer blooming plants were already in full bloom, like this gorgeous claret cup or king cup cactus, as well as a few other interesting things around that I was just starting to learn about. The area, of course, is also entirely famous for all of the various rock formations that are found in the area. And reptile number 2. a very young side blotch lizard. It's just hanging out underneath a little ledge over here. Kind of wish something else was hanging out right there too, but well, we got 2 species of lizards already on a day where the temperature currently is only 56 degrees Fahrenheit. It's starting to drop now, but it's just a little guy. The lizard, however, was the last reptile that was seen that day, because even though it was a beautiful sunny evening and we had a couple more hours of sunlight, 56 degrees then, and temperatures just kept on dropping. So, saved up my energy to try and get out early next day for the drive across the plateau. Good morning again. We are on the southeast slope right now of Boulder Mountain, looking over at the 12,000 foot Sky Island Peak over there. And down below us, the sweeping stretch of the Grand Staircase. Sequential series of ever lower plateaus of different kinds of rock as you head down towards the Grand Canyon, another 200 miles to the south. And all of it incredible landscape. And welcome to the northern end, officially, of Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument. We see here the effects of weathering and meltwater as it comes down off of Boulder Mountain, carving deep canyons into the rocks. About 64 degrees where I am right now, but down there it's probably almost 10 degrees warmer because it's a good 1,000 feet to the bottom of that canyon. It's an entirely different climate zone down there. And this landscape just keeps stretching off that way. We are sitting on what is known as the Hogback, a little stretch of the scenic highway that runs right across the top of one of the ridges up here, and it gets really narrow in some places. So we just came down to hike a little trail while we're here, and I've been told that there's a gopher snake over here. So we're going to see if we can locate him. There's a big lizard, one of the whiptails. Not seeing the gopher though. Darn, he must have left. Oh, he's gorgeous. Come here. Oh my goodness. Would you look at that? Beautiful adult Great Basin gopher. So this is a big old man of a Great Basin gopher. He is covered in scars. So he's been around for a while. He's seen things, he's experienced things. And yet he is still extremely quiet and laid back. What a gorgeous snake, though. They do get a little bigger than this. This guy's about 4 feet long, but not by much. You notice the very, very dark, very clear blotches near the head. That's kind of characteristic of this subspecies. Sometimes they'll actually kind of link together and look like almost like a ladder pattern. And then the usual gopher back end coloration. He's got kind of the lighter middle coloration like a lot of bull snakes get. But these are the biggest snake in this area. What a gorgeous animal, though. So we're going to try and get a few more photos of him, and then he was just kind of heading off through the brush over here, so we'll let him continue on his way in a minute. How gorgeous. Alright, there he goes. Just going to let him on his way. See some of those old scars on his tail. They kind of make it a little floppy, but there he goes. How gorgeous an animal is that? And coming back over to the trail, you can see where he crossed the trail here and went on up that way originally. All right, we's gonna get wet for a minute. Ooh, that is some cold mountain water. This is the Escalante River we're crossing here. Ooh. Seeing a lot of birds on the trail. Most of them I can't identify, and they're gone too quick for me to get any photos, but there's been a lot of really colorful ones. At least one yellow warbler, indigo bunting, a couple of thrushes, and lots of whiptails. So definitely reptiles out. And we got ourselves another prayer or plateau fence lizard here. Looks like a female just hanging out. I can go for. Oh, Lordy. Come here. Look at you. Hi. You're pretty. So this is a snake in much better condition than that first one. Almost the same size though. He's a little smaller. Look at those colors. That is gorgeous. This guy's got some great patterning on his neck though. Come here. We'll get you going in a minute here, but look at that pattern. You can see he's a little warmed up. He's getting a little hissy. So he's definitely a lot more ready to go. A little bit less chill than the other one was. But still, no inclination to bite. Just hiss and puff, which is your standard gopher snake way. It is such a pretty animal. Glad I took the time to hike out here. Alright, dude, on you go. So it might be a little hard to see, but we got confirmation that there are fish in the stream. Where'd he go? Well, I've lost him now, but there's at least one small fish in here. I don't know if it's a trout or a native species, but supposedly we got American otters in this waterway somewhere too. It'd be really cool to come across them, but that'd be an extreme stroke of luck. I managed to photograph another beautiful fence lizard before the hike was over, but then started climbing up out of that canyon and continuing on the drive. As you drive through the Escalante area, there are a lot of beautiful places to stop and look around, an incredible number of penstemon species that were in bloom at the time as well, but also just the landscape itself is phenomenal. This is definitely a place I recommend you come visit to actually understand just how pretty it is. I hope you can hear me over the wind. But the rock formations out here are just otherworldly. And really, you only get the full experience if you're in the middle of the staircase. We got a tiny little lizard running around, little side blotch. And there he goes. At first glance while I was out there, I believed that the lizard was a side blotch, but upon looking at the film after getting back here, I believe it was one of the local subspecies of tree lizard. But after seeing him, it wasn't a long drive before we entered a portion of Bryce Canyon National Park that I have not visited before. A beautiful place where you can see the spires and hoodoos from down below, hike and see some of the local flora and fauna within the canyons, and visit some of the interesting seepages and caves in the area. Taking a brief hike in Bryce Canyon National Park to a place called Mossy Cave. A cool wet environment that supports orchids and mosses in an otherwise desert area. It's not really a cave, but it's a spot where the rock splits and the two layers allow water to come through. And that seeps out here and collects down below as a little stream. And here we are atop the Mossy Cave waterfall. Hope you can hear me over the roar of it. Looks pretty, doesn't it? Except this is kind of deceptive, because this area naturally should be dry right now, give or take, minus maybe a little trickle from up above. But we have water that constantly flows through here because they dug from the Sevier River off to the west all the way over to this little canyon so they can irrigate crops down in Tropic. So this now flows continuously throughout the summer when it would normally otherwise be dry. Now some may think this helps the environment. In some cases it might. There are some species of animals and plants that will benefit from it. But at the same time it means other species that were adapted to the drier, very seasonal conditions when this would only be a river like this after a monsoon, those species won't do as well. And so they may be outcompeted and disappear from this area. After that hike was another rapid transition to another brand new environment, the high plateau above Zion and the Kolob Canyons. Alright, cruising has started in earnest. Currently in a set of conditions that we probably won't see anything for a while yet. Because it turns out this road is higher elevation than I thought. We're probably over 9,000 feet here, and it is 55 degrees Fahrenheit. So, gotta get past this, get to where it goes to lower elevation, and if we're lucky, maybe there's a mountain king crossing the road. Otherwise, as evening sets in, we'll be heading down into the Mojave Desert for tonight. Hopefully pick up a few things. Fingers crossed. We are in fact so high here that there is still snow. sides of the road. Like maybe it snowed a little bit in the last cold front, but not enough to have made snowpack like that. Yeesh, I gotta get lower. Well, it's not much, but we got mule deer up here on the top of the mountain. Just a couple of them there. We're just barely starting to get back into range where mountain kings might actually be, though. We're coming downhill now. Fingers crossed. As I headed back down a hill and temperatures started to rise again, I found one more place in the evening to try and take a little hike and see if I couldn't turn anything up. There was an incredible number of wildflowers around and quite a few birds calling in the trees, though the reptiles remained elusive. And our first full day out here in Utah has come to an end. The evening cruising did not go quite as I had hoped, even though it seemed like it was warm enough, but I don't know, the southwest corner of Utah doesn't seem quite ready to give up its secrets just yet. Fingers crossed that in the next video you'll see that change, but if not, during the daytime we are going to start our first real attempt at trying to find a mountain king. Since the little bit of a cruise today, I didn't really expect to see one. I was kind of feeling out some areas, but we will be really pushing hard to try and find some kings and maybe a regal ringneck tomorrow. But whatever we find will be in the next video. So until then, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss those videos coming up. Leave a like, leave comments below. If you have questions, feel free to leave those as well. Share the video if you know somebody who enjoys wildlife videos, exploration and adventure and such. And if you'd like to see more about the things that I work with, the stuff that I do, you can find my website at carltoncarnivores.com and follow me on social media, Instagram, TikTok, PixelFed, so on, at Carlton Carnivores. And if you'd like to help support the channel in a more financial manner, first off, watching the videos all the way through and subscribing really does help boost the channel. But also you can buy some of the plants or merchandise that I have available at my website shop. You can become a Patreon supporter where you get early access to the videos, exclusive merchandise if you have a high enough tier, and also access to the monthly seed contests if you're into that sort of thing. Or you can also donate at Coffee or simply contact me for other methods. Most of the links for these things will be in the video description below. But until next time, I'm Honkin' Carlton, and this is Carlton Carnivores.